Some voices today claim America was made for whites, that black people commit more crime, that racism is over, that those who complain are playing the victim. These aren't fringe thoughts anymore, they're echoing in mainstream media. One of the loudest is Charlie Kirk, who often argues that black Americans are inherently more criminal.
Black people are only 13% of the population, yet they commit 55% of the murders.
That affirmative action is souring every achievement, that white identity is under threat. These are explosive claims, but today, history demands we respond with facts, with truth, and with the voices erased by time. Because you cannot understand America without understanding genocide, slavery, Jim Crow, broken treaties, stolen land, stolen labor, and the resistance that never stopped. Today, I'm defending history, because when someone misquotes the past, people suffer. Let's begin. America did not emerge equal. It emerged from conquest, colonization, genocide, and built an economy on slavery. White supremacy was not an idea among many. It was the organizing principle of the state. Long before 1492, there were millions of indigenous peoples in North America. Then came European settlers, claiming land through doctrine of discovery, declaring natives uncivilized, the forced removal of native tribes, the Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Creek, Seminole, others through Indian removal acts in the 1830s. The Trail of Tears, thousands died, entire cultures disrupted, treaties made and broken, land stolen, rights ignored. Beginning in the 1600s, Africans were forced into chattel slavery. They were property. Laws codified their inferiority. Children born to enslaved women inherited enslaved status. Brutality was official policy. White supremacist ideology that blacks were genetically, morally inferior justified everything: ownership, torture, rape, forced labor. After the 13th Amendment, the struggle continued. Reconstruction offered promise, but was defeated by white supremacist backlash. Jim Crow laws enforced segregation, voting suppression, racial terror lynchings. White governments built separate and unequal schools, denied economic opportunity, used violence and law to maintain power. Slavery and Reconstruction. After emancipation, black Americans tried to build lives, schools, land ownership, political representation, hundreds of black legislators. But white supremacists responded with violence. The 1870s saw the rise of militias, the withdrawal of federal protection, and the solidification of segregation. Segregation and lynching. Between late 1800s and early 1900s, thousands of black people were lynched. Poll taxes and literacy tests prevented voting. Separate facilities, schools, transportation, water fountains restored inequality in every public sphere. Civil rights movement. In the 1950s-60s, black Americans said, "Enough." Rosa Parks, Montgomery bus boycott 1955-56, Freedom Rides, Birmingham campaign, March on Washington 1963, where Martin Luther King Jr. declared, "I have a dream." That dream was bold because the nightmare was real. Police dogs, fire hoses, church bombings, murders. Legal landmarks, Brown v. Board of Education, 1954, desegregated schools. Civil Rights Act, 1964, banned segregation. Voting Rights Act, 1965, protected voting. Yet legal victory was only part of the battle. De facto segregation, economic inequality, housing discrimination persisted. Native America, again. Legal doctrine kept natives off lands. Forced assimilation boarding schools, suppression of languages, culture, genocide in culture and law, treaties ignored, legal jurisdictions fought. Native Americans remain among the poorest, most marginalized populations in the U.S. Now, let's confront the claims head-on. One central argument: black people commit more crime, so accusations of systemic racism are overblown. Charlie Kirk and others use this to push a narrative of black inferiority and to justify harsh policing, mass incarceration, and political exclusion. Statistics show disparities, but they are overwhelmingly driven by structural inequality, policing bias, poverty, segregated neighborhoods, and harsher sentencing. According to the U.S. Prison Policy Initiative, while black Americans make up about 13% of the U.S. population, they represent 37% plus of people in prisons or jails. In 2022, around 32% of state and federal prisoners were black, while white, non-Hispanic people made up about 31%, despite being nearly 60% of the population. Black men are incarcerated at rates approximately 5 times those of white men. For Native Americans versus national averages, rates are even higher in some places. But why? Let's break it down. Policing bias and geography. Black neighborhoods are patrolled more heavily. Police stops, searches are more frequent. More arrests for low-level offenses. A 2017 analysis of over 60 million state patrol stops found black drivers were stopped more often than whites, and subject to searches at lower thresholds. Poverty and broken economic systems. Generations locked out from wealth accumulation, slavery, redlining, discriminatory lending, poor housing, underfunded schools, limited job access, all risk factors for crime, not race. Sentencing differences. Studies show that black defendants receive longer sentences for comparable crimes. Federal sentencing reports from 2023 reveal disparities by race, even after controlling for criminal history and offense severity. Pre-trial inequity. Many black accused cannot afford bail, so sit in jails awaiting trial, increasing chance of plea deals and higher conviction rates. Media amplification and stereotype. Every crime by a black person is amplified. Many crimes by whites are minimized or made mental health stories, so public perception becomes warped. Crime looks black even when statistical distribution says otherwise. Therefore, the claim blacks commit more crime without context is deceptive. It's like seeing only forest fires and blaming the trees, ignoring drought, wind, and fuel built up over centuries. This isn't only an American story. In Europe, colonialism, race laws, discrimination in neighborhoods, unequal policing, and immigration debates echo the same logic, that some races belong and others don't. Colonial legacy. France, Britain, Spain, Portugal extracted resources, enslaved people, and colonized continents. These colonial powers brought back ideologies of racial hierarchy, immigrant discrimination, post-World War II migration from former colonies to UK, France, Netherlands, Germany, Black and brown immigrants often face worse housing, education, policing, racial profiling is common. Legal systems and race laws. Laws in European nations sometimes enforce colorblind policies that ignore historic discrimination, making it harder for minorities to show disadvantage in courts or policy. In both continents, the ideology is similar. Whiteness is framed as default, full citizenship, belonging. Non-whiteness is other, suspect, lesser. People like Charlie Kirk are part of this global wave. Martin Luther King Jr. and civil rights. 4 little girls died in church bombing in Birmingham. The March on Washington. The Selma to Montgomery March. King's philosophy, nonviolent protest, moral confrontation, forcing America's ideals to match its reality. Quote, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Protests and modern era. Police killings of unarmed black people. Rodney King, Michael Brown, George Floyd sparked mass protests. Black Lives Matter movement. These are not spontaneous reactions. They are historically grounded continuations of civil rights resistance. They force America to confront itself. Through these, we see not broken people, but persistent resistance. Not gratitude for being acknowledged, but demands for rights, dignity, full citizenship. We began with a claim: America was made for whites. We heard that black people commit more crime, that affirmative action erodes merit, that systemic racism is over. To those who believe the past is over, it is not. To those who say we exaggerate, ask the grandkids of the enslaved, ask Native communities again. To those who say we are a post-racial society, the prison records, the housing maps, the school funding maps, the health statistics say otherwise. But there is hope, teaching true history, supporting reforms in criminal justice, voting rights, education, coalition across communities, black, white, indigenous, demanding change. History is not yours or mine. History is everyone's inheritance. If we guard truth, we guard justice. If we ignore fact, we accept injustice. Voices like Charlie Kirk's may stir fear, but facts, courage, solidarity, they build a future. And that future belongs to all of us, not some of us. Let's claim it together.